The heat was already clinging to my skin by the time I stepped onto the faded asphalt of the neighborhood basketball court. The sun hung low but sharp in the sky, casting long shadows from the crooked fence and the half-dead tree at the far end. I bounced the ball a few times, let the rhythm settle into my hands, and took a shot. The rim rattled like it hadn't been touched in weeks, which it probably hadn't. It was the kind of quiet that didn't ask for much. Just space to think, to move, to sweat a little. Summer break back home always felt like that. Suspended, aimless, like I was waiting for something I hadn't named yet. I didn't hear the footsteps at first, but I felt the shift in the air, the presence. And then his voice, still got that awful jump shot, huh? I turned, heart skipping, and there he was. Jordan. He looked exactly the same and completely different, all at once. Same wild brown curls, same sun-freckled nose, but his skin was darker now, like it had soaked in months of sunlight. His hoodie was tied around his waist, his backpack slung over one shoulder. There was a quiet confidence in the way he stood at the court's edge, like he already belonged again. "Jordan?" I blinked, wiping sweat from my brow with my shirt. "What the hell? You're back?" He grinned, wide and boyish. "Got home 2 days ago. Thought I'd come find you before you disappeared into one of your weird summer projects." I laughed, though it came out more like a breath. "I'm not that hard to find." He walked toward me, kicking a loose stone with the toe of his shoe. "You kinda are." We didn't hug. We didn't really need to. We just stood there for a moment, eyes adjusting to each other again. I realized then how long it had been. 6 months, maybe more. He'd been in Peru building homes and running literacy programs, posting group photos every now and then, always smiling, always surrounded by strangers. And I'd been here, same town, same court, same me. "You wanna shoot around?" I asked, nodding toward the ball. He dropped his bag without answering and caught the ball when I passed it, spinning it in his hands. When he took his first shot and missed completely, we both laughed. Too hard for what it was. "Still got it," I teased. He retrieved the ball and dribbled once. I missed this court, the way the air smells like cut grass and asphalt. That made something stir in my chest. Something quiet, but impossible to ignore. We played for a while, mostly goofing off. No keeping score, just passing, shooting, letting our conversation stretch out in pieces between shots. He told me about a kid named Luis who tried to beat him, at chess every day after school. I told him about my summer job stocking shelves at the hardware store. Somewhere in the middle of it, I forgot we'd been apart at all. But every time he looked at me, I felt something shift inside. Something I couldn't name. As the sun dipped lower, streaking orange across the cracked pavement, he sat down on the court, legs stretched out, breathing hard. I joined him, wiping sweat from the back of my neck. He leaned back on his palms, eyes on the sky. "Feels good to be home," I nodded, watching a curl of hair fall across his forehead. "Yeah, it's good to have you back." He glanced at me, and for a second, it felt like there was something else in the way he looked. A pause, a softness, but it passed. Just two friends hanging out. That's all it was. At least, that's what I told myself. The second round started with trash talk. Jordan grinned, bouncing the ball lazily between his hands. "Come on, Ethan. Best of 5. Don't go soft on me just because I've been away building houses." I narrowed my eyes, already sweating, again. "You sure your legs still work after all that volunteering?" "You worried?" I didn't answer. I just stole the ball. We played harder that time, faster. The air felt thicker, the sun heavier on our backs. Our sneakers scraped. The court, as we pushed past each other, laughing between grunts and half-hearted fouls. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. The kind of rhythm that made the world fall away. Just sound, breath, movement. Then came the moment. Jordan tried to block a layup, lunging with more momentum than he meant to. His foot caught mine, and we went down, a tangle of limbs and limbs. His chest hit mine, his forearm brushed my neck. I landed flat on my back, the wind knocked out of me. He laughed first, still half draped over me, his bare skin warm against mine. God. Sorry, he wheezed, trying to push himself up. That was not my smoothest move. I couldn't speak. His face was inches from mine, his knee pressed into my thigh. I could smell his sweat, clean, human, oddly familiar. I felt everything and nothing, all at once. He looked down at me, and for half a second, didn't move. Just stared. I thought he might say something. But then he laughed again, rolled off, and flopped onto his back beside me. I forced myself to laugh too, even though my hands were shaking. Back at my house, the kitchen felt too small. He'd tossed his shirt somewhere in the hallway, said he was still cooling down. I poured water into 2 tall glasses, focusing on the hum of the fridge, the clink of ice. Jordan leaned on the counter, his skin flushed and golden in the afternoon light. He tilted his head back and drained his glass in one go, his throat working with each swallow. I looked away. He caught me staring at the ceiling. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said quickly. "Just tired." He nodded, running a hand through his damp hair. "You've been working out. You're stronger than you used to." I froze for a breath too long. "Yeah, I guess." I handed him a fresh towel and turned toward the sink, staring at nothing. His fingers brushed mine for just a second. I pulled back like I'd touched something hot. He didn't seem to notice. Or maybe he did, and just didn't say anything. Later, after he left, his shirt still crumpled over one arm, hair still wet from my shower, I lay on my bed with the fan spinning slow above me. The window was cracked open, and the summer air drifted in, sticky and full of distant lawnmowers and someone's old pop music. I stared at the ceiling, but all I could see was him. The way he laughed, breathless and too close. The feel of his skin against mine, the weight of him. That moment, that look, when he didn't move. When it felt like we were both waiting for something. It was innocent. But it didn't feel that way. I closed my eyes and told myself to sleep. It didn't. Work. The weird part was, nothing had changed. We still hung out the same way we always had. In the car with the windows down, at the diner with fries between us, sprawled out on the living room floor playing some game we never finished. But something had shifted, quietly, invisibly. And I couldn't stop noticing it, like the way Jordan looked at me when I laughed. Not just glanced, looked, like he was trying to memorize the sound. And sometimes after we said goodbye in my driveway, he wouldn't leave right away. He'd linger, keys in hand, eyes half lowered, like he was waiting for something else to happen. At first, I told myself I was imagining it, but it kept happening. We were at the mall one afternoon. Just killing time. Jordan was flipping through some shirts at a rack while I tried not to think about the way his sleeves hugged his biceps. He held one up to me, then laughed. "You've really filled out this year, huh? I remember when you were all awkward elbows. And no chest." I blinked. "Yeah, well, push-ups work, I guess." He smiled, but something about the way he looked at me, a split second too long, made my throat tighten. I forced a laugh and looked away. Later, back at home, my brother passed through the kitchen while Jordan and I were putting sodas in the fridge. "You two still glued at the hip," he joked. "You're like an old married couple." Jordan laughed. I did too. But something cold lodged itself behind my ribs. That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced my room. I played a song I didn't really listen to. I sat on the floor, staring at nothing. And then I saw it. The hoodie Jordan had left behind a few days ago after we watched a movie. Black, soft, sleeves stretched at the cuffs. Still smelled like him. that vague blend of pine deodorant and something warm, maybe his detergent or just him. I reached for it without thinking, held it in my hands. And then I froze. What was I doing? I dropped it like it burned. My heart thudded. My skin prickled. I told myself it was just habit, comfort, leftover nostalgia. But even that felt like a lie. The truth sat in the pit of my stomach like a stone. I was thinking about him too much. I was watching for signs. I was hoping for them, maybe. And that scared the hell out of me, because Jordan wasn't just a guy. He was Jordan, my best friend, the one person I'd trusted more than anyone else. I'd never felt this way about anyone, not a girlfriend, not a crush, not anyone. And now? Now, I couldn't stop wondering if maybe, just maybe, he felt it too, or worse. If he didn't, and I was about to lose everything. I sat down on my bed, pulled my knees to my chest, and stared out the window. Outside, the world was quiet, peaceful. But inside my chest, everything was noise. I looked at the hoodie again, still pooled on the carpet like it meant nothing. But it did. It was supposed to be just another casual Saturday. We were meant to meet some friends at the park for a pickup game, maybe grab burgers after. But by the time I laced up my sneakers, the sky had turned the color of old steel, and the wind rattled. The front windows like it had something to say. A text from Jordan popped up around noon. Rain check? Before I could reply, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find him standing there, damp from the sudden downpour, hoodie clinging to his shoulders, grinning like he was 16 again. I brought snacks and a backup plan, he said, holding up a bag of chips and a DVD case. You're not allowed to sulk. We ended up curled on the couch, a blanket draped over both our legs, the rain drumming steadily against the roof. The film was some old basketball documentary he'd always loved. Grainy footage, slow-motion layups, underdog, victories. His voice softened every time he quoted a line before it happened, like each one had been sewn into his memory. Halfway through, thunder cracked so hard it rattled the floorboards. Then the screen blinked out. Silence. Darkness. Well, Jordan said after a beat, I didn't plan that far ahead. We fumbled for our phones, then dug out a few stubby candles from the kitchen drawer. Their flickering glow painted the living room in amber and shadows. Jordan slumped back onto the couch beside me, legs sprawled, eyes soft in the warm light. For a while we just listened to the rain, then he spoke, quiet, like he wasn't sure he wanted to hear his own words. I don't know what it is lately. I feel like everyone's moved on, or away. Even when I'm in a room full of people, it's like I'm somewhere else. He paused, then glanced at me. Except with you, I always feel here. My breath caught in my throat. I nodded, but words failed me. My fingers curled into the blanket. Jordan let out a slow breath. I know that probably sounds dumb. It doesn't, I said, barely above a whisper. I get it. We sat like that, shadows dancing across our faces. The only sound, the storm curling around the house like a heartbeat. Then I felt it, his hand brushing against mine, searching, then settling on my forearm. Warm, gentle. He didn't pull away. Neither did I. My pulse jumped. My skin buzzed where he touched me. He looked at me. I looked back. The silence wasn't empty anymore. It was full. Charged. Waiting. There was a moment, just one, where I thought we might close the space between us. One breath, and we would have been there, but we didn't. He dropped his gaze first, pulling his hand back slowly, like it pained him to break contact. Sorry, he muttered. That was... No, I said quickly, heart hammering. Don't be. But that was all we said. We didn't start the movie again. We didn't talk more about what just almost happened. Instead, we sat in the half-dark, our shoulders just barely touching beneath the blanket, letting the storm pass outside, while another one brewed silently between us. The next morning, everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. Sunlight spilled through my curtains like it always did. My sneakers waited by the door. Jordan texted me a single word, "Court?" And I said yes before thinking about it. Before remembering how the storm last night wasn't just outside. We walked to the court like usual, ball bouncing between us. The neighborhood smelled of wet pavement and cut grass. But the rhythm between us was off. Our usual jokes landed, softer. The space between our bodies seemed charged again, even when we weren't touching. I kept stealing glances, his profile, the way his fingers adjusted the hem of his t-shirt, the familiar way he rolled his shoulder after a shot. Things I'd seen 100 times. Things I couldn't stop noticing now. After a few rounds of lazy one-on-one, we sat on the edge of the court, sweat cooling on our skin. He passed me a water bottle. I took it, but my hand was shaking slightly. And I knew I had to say something or I'd break, so I said it. "Do you ever think about us?" He blinked. The silence was instant and total. Not even the wind dared to move. Jordan looked at me, brows pulling together, his voice cautious. "What do you mean?" I stared straight ahead, at the empty court, at the peeling paint on the fence, anywhere but at him. "I don't know. Just us. Lately. The way we've been. The way I feel when I'm around you." I wanted to swallow the words the moment they left me. But it was too late. He didn't say anything right away. I almost got up. Then I felt him shift closer. "Yeah," he said, so quietly I almost missed it. "I do." I turned to him slowly. He met my eyes. There was a storm behind his expression, uncertainty, fear, but also something I hadn't seen before. Something softer, something brave. My breath caught as he leaned forward, not fast, not bold, just honest, testing the air between us. I didn't move, couldn't. The second his lips touched mine, everything stilled. The sound of the wind faded. The court, the sky, the trees, all of it faded into silence. It wasn't perfect or practiced. It was barely even a kiss, but it was real. When he pulled back, his face was close. "That wasn't just in my head, was it?" "No," I breathed. "Not mine either." We didn't say anything else. We just sat there, legs stretched out, shoulders brushing. I could feel the heat from his skin through the fabric of my shirt. I felt like I was vibrating from the inside out. My chest ached in the best and worst way. I didn't know what this meant. What would happen next? If we were brave enough to talk about it again, or if we'd go back to pretending. But I knew something had shifted, something big, and whatever this was, it wasn't nothing. We didn't see each other for 3 days, not because of any big fight or some dramatic falling out. We texted, short things, memes, basketball updates, random one-liners. But we didn't talk about that moment on the court, the kiss, and maybe. That silence said more than any paragraph could. I found myself watching the shadows on my ceiling at night, wondering if he was doing the same. My chest felt heavy, not in a bad way, just full. Like there was too much emotion for one person to carry alone. Then, Thursday night, I heard the soft knock on the back door. I opened it, and there he was. Jordan. Hoodie half-zipped, hair damp from a shower, eyes a little unsure, but still him. Always him. "Hey," he said. "Hey, we didn't need more than that." I led him to the porch. The wooden steps creaked under our weight as we settled into the old lawn chairs. The porch. Light above us flickered, casting us in a hazy yellow glow. The air smelled like grass and warm earth, thick with that quiet stillness only summer nights have. For a while, We just sat. Let the crickets fill the silence. I think both of us were waiting for the other to say something first. Finally, I exhaled. "I don't know what I'm doing." Jordan turned to me, eyes soft. "Me neither." I let that sit for a moment. I've never thought about guys that way. Not until, well, you. He nodded slowly, like he understood. "It's not about guys, though. It's just you." That broke something open inside me. "I keep thinking I'll wake up and it'll be gone," I admitted. "The way I feel, but it's not. And I don't want it to be." Jordan looked down at his hands, then at mine. "I don't want to mess this up. Us. You're my best friend. And I don't know what this is either. But it doesn't feel wrong." My fingers trembled slightly, but I reached out. He met me halfway. It wasn't dramatic, just two hands resting in the space between us, his thumb gently brushing the back of mine. But it felt like everything. The porch light flickered again, casting long shadows against the worn wooden floor. Our joined hands stretched out like something quiet and true, like a promise we hadn't spoken aloud yet. We didn't kiss. We didn't talk about next steps or definitions. We just sat there, fingers laced, feeling the hum of something new and unspoken between us. Not a beginning. Not an ending, just us, exactly where we were supposed to be. It had been a week since that night on my porch, since our fingers laced in the flickering yellow light like we were quietly rewriting everything we thought we knew. Since then, things had been softer between us. No declarations, no rushed conclusions, just the quiet relief of not being alone in whatever this was. Then Jordan texted me, "You down for my cousin's BBQ tonight?" "Just chill, nothing big." I hesitated. The thought of being around a crowd, laughing, joking, pretending nothing was different, made something in my chest twist. But I said yes anyway. When I got there, the backyard was already buzzing. String. Lights hung between trees, flickering like fireflies. Someone had a speaker playing low-tempo R&B, and the smell of grilled corn and burgers floated through the air. Jordan was by the cooler, half laughing at something his cousin said. When he spotted me, his smile shifted, smaller, realer. A private kind of smile, like I was the punchline to a joke he didn't want to share with anyone else. He didn't say much at first, just handed me a soda and nodded toward the lawn chairs near the fire pit. We mingled, talked to people, sat, close but not close enough to draw attention. But every few minutes he glanced at me. That same look from the court, from the storm, from the porch. Like he wanted to say something but didn't know how. Around 10, when the fire had burned low and most of the guests were either gone or half asleep in beanbags, Jordan nudged me and nodded toward the back gate. We slipped through it like we were 16 again, sneaking out to shoot hoops after curfew. The backyard stretched into a small field, stars glittering above like salt scattered across velvet. He stopped walking and looked at me, hands in his hoodie pocket. That same hoodie he left at my place once, the one I hadn't returned yet. I'd buried my face in it more than I wanted to admit. "I've been thinking," he said softly, kicking at the grass. I waited. I don't want to keep doing this in the shadows. His voice wasn't dramatic. It was just honest, quiet and heavy, like something that had been weighing on him. I swallowed. "You mean us?" He nodded. "I'm not saying we need to tell everyone tomorrow or post about it, but I don't want to feel like I have to act like we're just teammates when we're not." My heart thudded against my ribs. I looked down, then back up at him. "I'm scared," I said. "Not of you, just what people might think, what it means." He stepped closer, not touching me, just shrinking the space between us. "You don't have to figure it all out right now. Neither do I." I breathed. In slowly, feeling the night settle around us, the grass brushing my ankles, the soft sound of a sprinkler ticking in the distance. Jordan smiled, small, earnest. "We've always been a team, right?" That broke me in the best way. I smiled, too. "Yeah, we have." His hand brushed mine, not asking, just offering. I took it, and under the stars, surrounded by the hum of distant voices and summer heat, he kissed me, not tentative, not testing. This time it was steady, warm, real. When we pulled back, there was no rush to speak. Just the soft quiet of everything we weren't saying and didn't need to. Later, he drove me home. We didn't say goodbye like we used to. Just sat in the car for a few extra seconds, music low, windows down. Our hands touched on the center console, barely. But that was enough. The next morning, I went to the court. It was early, too early for anyone else to be there. The sun hadn't fully risen yet. Mist clung to the chain-link fence, and the backboard was slick with dew. I stood there, ball in hand, and let the silence hold me. And then I heard him. "Thought you'd be here." I turned. Jordan walked toward me, hair messy, sleep still in. His eyes hoodie zipped halfway. He didn't say anything else. I dribbled once, looked at him, and then I said, "Let's play." But this time, no pretending. He smiled, and I swear, in that moment the whole court felt like home.